Oh my gosh, next, look what we have here. We have 3 chairs. Anybody want to sit in them? Anybody? It's amazing. 7 years ago, I get a phone call from Elizabeth Riley. She says, hey, I'd love for you to check out this new model. And this gentleman flies into Austin, Texas and meets with me. And you know what? He's almost like a myth, a legend now, right? It's almost like you see him walk down the hallway and it's like, there's Glenn. There's Glenn. But let me tell you, for 7 years, one thing that I think about when I think about Glenn Sanford is access, humility. I mean, let me tell you, I don't know how many times you guys have come to me and said, I've got a problem. I really need to talk. Could I talk to Glenn? I said, just contact him. And people are like, no, Glenn Sanford. I said, yeah, contact him. He is so responsive. He is so humble. It's a blessing that we're all in business with him, and he thought of this model, right? And we want to give him all this credit. And today, and here's the access part. Glenn, could you just come to and could you interview some people for us? Could you lead a panel? Yeah, Brent, yeah, Gene, I'll come. So that's the kind of person Glenn is, and that's what I think of Glenn. And he's going to interview 2 people that have just almost have 2,000 people on the RevShare team. Carlos and Rosemary German from Orlando, Florida. So let's welcome them out. Come on out, guys. Woo! Mr. Glenn Sanford. Woo! Dude. Come on, brother. Woo!
All right, awesome. This is
What an amazing crowd, Glenn, huh?
it's getting what's Gene say? The room will never be this small again, or something like that. It's like I can't even see at the back. I mean, I think there's doors back there somewhere.
Absolutely. So we're just gonna dive in and get started. Obviously, we want to thank Jim for the amazing introduction, and we're gonna unpack here Glenn Sanford. We're gonna ask you about the future, your past, where you started, and where this is all going, so that the agents can get an amazing perspective. Right, Rosemary?
Yes. We want to thank you first for your vision, for everything you've done, everything you've built with this company. I think everyone here in this room can agree that this is not just an amazing company, but we are also an amazing family, a huge family, and it's all because of your vision. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. And congratulations for that as well.
Thank you.
We first want to go back to the beginning when you started. And we wanted to ask, did you ever face doubt, fear, and discouragement in those early days when you started ESP?
Not at all. No. Well, for sure. I mean, this is 2000. This is 2009, 2008, 2009. Some of you've heard me use the technical term that the housing market sucked back then. It was. We didn't know exactly what we were doing, and it was sort of this. It was a science experiment. We sort of assumed that there were other agents that were like me, who were entrepreneurial, that didn't want to be on the hamster wheel and was looking for a better model. And really, the whole idea was to kind of go to work building the model I would be at as an agent. That really was the thing. But going to the office as an avatar, we did that day one. I literally told the team to go home, take the computers home, and I literally said, this is either going to work or it's not going to work. And if it doesn't work, we're all going to be looking for work. That was, and so it was, we're trying to build collaboration, we're trying to build accountability, we're trying to do all the things that are now our core values. For the first time, we had never done that. I mean, we had offices, and I knew at that point that the teams that I visited, because I was running 5 real estate teams at the time, but there were 2 that did well. It was one in Bellingham, Washington, where I lived, and there was another one in Phoenix, Arizona, where I loved to be in the winter. And so those teams did well. And so the whole idea of how do you distribute leadership in and how do you duplicate yourself if, there were a whole bunch of places, quite frankly, I wasn't really excited to go to, but could we build a platform that would allow for that to that distributed leadership model? And so it was really just an experiment. And so it was, we were struggling financially. I mean, we were stuck in the same place many people were in 2008, 2009, 2010. Had to short sell a home because we couldn't make payments going through 2008, 2009. We were hiring managing brokers back in 2009, 2010, and initially we wanted our managing brokers to be financially solvent. And if anybody was a managing broker that owned their own office from 2006, 7, 8, going into 9, and you had the experience of owning an office, there's a high likelihood that you went bankrupt during that period of time. So it was, it was a tough time, but it was from a fear perspective, not a lot of fear, but there was some doubt. Would it in fact work? And for me, I'm a risk taker, so it wasn't really a fear orientation. It was more of a, will it work? Can we create enough momentum? What's it going to take to get to that, to where we need to be? And anyway, now we're here, 60,000. I don't know if Jeff's kicked out what number of agents we're at or anybody has, but I know we're above 60,000 now, and so it's crazy.
That's awesome.
Amazing. So obviously, there were a lot of moving pieces at the beginning. Like, how much did you have to invest to get it started, to get it off the ground? How did all that work?
Well, I mentioned that we were kind of broke. We were so from 2008 to 2009, we had to raise money. In fact, 2008, my prior real estate brokerage was called Buyer Tours Realty, and so we were a team-based brokerage focusing almost exclusively on buyers. But we also had 5 or 6 of the top ranked real estate websites in the country. So we were number 1 organically on Google for Seattle real estate, or number 2 for Phoenix real estate, or number 1 for Las Vegas real estate, number 2 for Nashville real estate. So we had all these high-ranking websites, and so I literally was raising money and using the websites as security to raise the money. So we raised $75,000, borrowed another $75,000 to get to 2009, and then we had to rewrite the whole business model. So it was. We were taking our SEO services we were really good at getting sites ranked, so we were literally helping our competitors rank their websites and charging like $18,000 to do the website SEO. And we get people to the top of the Google search engines back in the day, and we were doing anything we could to create any sort of income to keep this model going. And then we didn't even have software written. So you see enterprise today, literally we were doing this on spreadsheets, and we had a coding team sort of building stuff offshore, and it was all duct tape and baling wire trying to keep this whole thing together.
Oh, wow. So when did you know finally that you were going to make it?
Good question. On our financial model, we thought 300 agents was kind of the number that would, for us, we felt like we would be sustainable as a company in terms of just growth, and that we would be able to pay the bills. So that 300 was kind of that first magic number, but we didn't even feel at that point. I think 2015 was the first year where we grew over 100% year over year. Thank you, Gene Frederick, and wherever you are. Because when Gene joined, literally, we started to take a little bit of a ramp, and we just started to offer equity as well. So we just created the equity incentive program in late 2014. 2015, we grew. And so we were actually concerned at the end of 2015, 2016, even going into 2017, that we were growing way faster than we could handle. We were a little bit at risk of imploding. Anybody remember when it took 2 to 3 weeks to get paid on a transaction? Okay. Okay, we're doing a little better now. Yeah, so we've got it down quite well now. But there was a period of time where it took 2 to 3 weeks to onboard. Any of you relate to that? It took us, 2 weeks or so to get agents paid, not because we didn't have the finances. It's just because we were growing so fast, the transaction count was growing so fast that we were almost at risk of imploding from the speed of growth. But financially, we could handle it. So I would say that really 2018-ish was really the point in time where I knew this thing was gonna really make it.
Very good. And then, at one point in that trajectory, Glenn, like you decided to take the company public, create a stocks, and, bring that benefit to the agents. So, what led to that decision? How do you feel about it today? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let me state it 2 ways. One, be careful what you wish for. So that's as a public company, there's a whole bunch of extra scrutiny that you don't get as a private company, and it's a little painful. It's anyway, I could probably come up with some really descriptive terms that included like a rubber glove to sort of describe the feeling of. However, I won't. The other side, of course, is that we have now, I don't even know what the number is, but we've distributed based on today's value of the company, well in excess of $2 billion, maybe $2.5 billion worth of equity to our agents and brokers. Which we could never have done as a private company. So from that perspective, that is really the big piece that I wanted to solve for, because me as an agent, when I was at Prudential and then I was at Keller, I was not offered any equity, and certainly no equity at the top. And who wouldn't have wanted to be a shareholder with Dave Leninger from Remax or Gary Keller, at Keller Williams, but they didn't offer that equity out to agents. And so for me, that really bugged me. And I said, if we build a company, we're gonna make that happen. And it took us a few years to get to a point to be able to do that. And of course now, it's becoming kind of trendy to give out equity. I mean, there's a bunch of companies now that's actually making that part of their business plan. And we were the very first ones to ever do that. So.
So, you are an amazing leader, facing challenges every day, new challenges. So we wanted to know, what's your mantra?
Well, if you went, anybody who went to breakfast with Glenn yesterday, I mentioned the mantra. By the way, I didn't get to have breakfast with myself, so I walked around with coffee. But the mantra is really that Zig Ziglar quote. I mean, it's the one you've heard me repeat it time and time again, and I think it's a mantra that everybody, can live this, especially at EXP, live this mantra, which is you can have anything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. It's the famous Zig Ziglar quote.
I love it.
And it's such a powerful mantra because it reorientates you every day. And those who are the biggest givers ultimately will receive the most. Those who ultimately are wanting to look out for their own personal self-interests first will, at the end of the day, even if they do get money, they'll probably be miserable at the end of the day. And two, they probably won't actually make as much as they could have had they been a giver first. And so this orientation around servant leadership, of paying it forward, and then realizing that this is an infinite game. There's no point in time where you actually stop giving just because you've hit a certain level. We do this. This is our life mission, and if you actually live by that mantra, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's more about others than it ever is about us individually.
Yeah. So when it comes to the company, and obviously with it becoming public and everything that you put together, it's creating more and more and more opportunity. I mean, I, recently heard, obviously, we launched Success Lending, right? There's other amazing affiliate services. So tell us a little bit about that, what goes on with those decisions, what do you envision for us in the future as a company, and tell us a little bit about Success Lending as well.
Thanks for that. No, one of the cool things about EXP, and we talked about the amount of equity that's been shared with all of the agents and brokers in the company, and obviously this is just a small subsection of our agent base. I mean, we got, 5,000, 6,000 people here. We got 10 times that, now around the world. And we've done a number of different things to enhance the agent value proposition. One of them is, of course, distributing equity, and that's a big one, because now everybody's shoulder to shoulder with everybody else in this room. And then we've instituted things like our stock buyback to make sure that concentration of stock in the marketplace is actually with our agents and brokers. So, even though, obviously some will sell for all kinds of great reasons, to actually generate income, put their kids through school, buy a house, pay for a parent's place to live, whatever that is. I mean, there's so many stories here. We still want to keep that concentration of stock, because as we become more profitable as a company, we want to start doing things like we just declared our first dividend, so that 4 cents a share for. And then as a team, we want to also increase the overall profitability of the company by being one-stop shop for our clients. I mean, whether you think about what we're doing with, building out exprealty.com and building out the portal and adding things like mortgage and title and escrow and all those things right into the website. But as we become more profitable, we're going to be able to distribute more profits to our agents and brokers. So Success Lending is just getting started. We haven't opened up anywhere yet, so probably October we'll have our first state or two open, which we're excited about that. But we think that over time we'll be able to maybe even double the profitability of the brokerage just from these extra services, and that's just from a small subsection of our agents taking advantage of it and benefiting their clients through these services. So, as we add lending, as we add title and escrow, as we add all these other services, that's going to boost the value of the stock, the value of the company, the potential dividends and other things that we'll be doing. So this is all just part of how do we increase the value of the company that we're distributing to everyone.
Amazing. So Glenn, it is obvious that you're an amazing leader and also a billionaire. And of course, and when I learned about this opportunity to talking to you, I was like, what his schedule looks like? Does he have like a morning routine? What does he eat? Like everything. Like I want to know everything. So tell me, do you have a morning routine, a night routine? What's your schedule look like? Tell me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So. I'm like literally, they're just like there's no real difference other than there's like hitting that Forbes list is pretty cool, by the way. Yeah, yeah. But I exercise in the morning. I usually get up and try to run anywhere from 3 to 7 miles every day. I try to get between 25 and 30 miles a week running in. So I try to do a lot of half marathons and those type of things. So that's kind of my morning routine. I tend to do like maybe one meeting in the morning, and then I'll have an hour and a half break so I can get my runs in. So that's kind of my morning routine. I tend to be an intermittent faster, so I tend not to eat breakfast. So, and I've been eating breakfast here though, except yesterday, yeah. But and then evening, I tend to work from about 7:30, 8 in the morning till about 3 to 4 in the afternoon. That's my typical day, and then it's typically a wind down. And but as many of you know, I'm on workplace chat pretty much 24/7. If I'm not sleeping, I got my phone with me. So so I'm always doing that kind of just engagement piece. But I have an a separate office where I have to actually walk out of the house and go to the other side, so I can actually create a sort of a space where it's my workspace versus my home space. So.
Okay.
Very good, very good. So I'm glad you mentioned like being on the phone, and obviously you've been talking a lot about technology and the things that EXP has done in technology. What can we look forward to in the future? You've got so many so much background in the lead generation and web and portals, and you're so excited. You're a programmer too, right? You do some code, right?
Yeah, I've been known to code back in the day. I don't think I've done much coding lately, but yeah, you know, which drives, of course, our tech team nuts, because I think I could do anything. Like, literally, yeah, it's like, yeah, give it enough time, right? But which I don't have. You know, some of the stuff we're doing right now. Some of you heard about the whole, you know, Dave Ramsey fiasco that took place a few months ago. So we've stood up now our own platform for helping actually do lead gen for agents through Success Experts, which is probably really a prototype. Yeah, a prototype for some lead gen for agents that want that. You know, I never was personally involved in, well, in taking leads in in that capacity as an agent, but I was really good at lead gen, and of course I didn't realize how big of a need there was for those types of programs. So we're going to probably spend a bit more time and effort actually building up really quality lead gen networks for agents that want to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think with success and then the coaching piece and you know, I know I think Don was up here yesterday talking a little bit about some of the stuff that's going on with success coaching. You know, that idea of building what we refer to as a success achievement system, and really building that cadence around figuring out what your aspirational objectives are, and then figuring out what those, you know, key results are as an individual in your different parts of your life. I think those types of ideals and building that into your personal habits, you know, I think it makes a really great additional piece that we're continuing to invest in. We've got the Success co-work called Success Space. So, you know, for those of you who are interested in owning a co-work space in your area, you know, that's going to be a really cool way to bring your community together locally without it being a real estate office. So I think there's going to be some benefits there. So a lot of things we've got in motion. And then hopefully, you know, in the next month or two, or three, we're going to have some really cool additional announcements on some other initiatives that we haven't disclosed yet, but excited about that.
Awesome, excellent. Well, Glenn, I mean, this has been absolutely amazing. We wanted to thank you for everything once again. We are truly a family because of your vision, because of you, because of what you've created here for us. We're changing lives. And look at this event. I mean, look at all the people in the crowd. Look at what we're doing right here. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Let's hear it for Glenn.
We love you.
Thank you.